Bliss Streetman. Bliss's earliest memories are of her wandering alone in the woods, telling herself stories. While she doesn't get into the woods as much as she would like any longer, she is still telling stories. Acting on stage at PCA, improvising with the Prescott Improv Collective, which also happens to play here. Wordsmithing, she's a cat mom of 3. I'm assuming that's 3 cats. A girlfriend, coffee snob, true crime obsessed. Bliss has said that at the end of the day, what is left of us are the stories we tell and the stories told about us. Hope you enjoy this story.
Hello, everybody. Okay, first things first. I want you guys to wiggle with me. I have been sitting in that chair this whole time, so wiggle with me. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Get all your wigglies out. Woo! Okay. Oh, that's so much better. All right. Are you guys ready to hear a ghost story? Awesome. I'm going to set the scene. But first, I have to tell you about my mother, because all things start with our mothers. My mom had already failed her family by the time she had me. She had an uptight, very proper family from the South. She'd already birthed me, a bastard. She had fallen out of college without a degree, having failed to find herself a husband or a job. She was in the backwoods of Kentucky looking for structure, for answers, for family, and she decided the one place she was going to find it was Northern California. So she got the hell out of the South and went to Northern California because she was going to find herself a Buddhist commune. A Buddhist commune. Instead, what she found was a group of Christians. Right, yeah. They scooped her up and they gave her the structure, the family, the support, the control, the isolation, the brainwashing, the indoctrination. Yeah. I grew up in a cult, okay? So that's what happened. I lived on this very interesting piece of property in the backwoods of Northern California. Imagine about 40, 50 acres deep in the redwood forest. Ironically enough, it used to be a hippie commune. There was about 8 or 7 cabins that had been refurbished by the owners, who actually were part of the leadership of the cult that she got roped into. She was a single parent of 2. We were welfare kids. We lined up at the food box maybe once or twice a month. We lived a little bit off-grid. I knew how to chop my own firewood by the age of 6. I am a menace with an axe. I know how to grow my own food. I can wash my own clothes in a creek. We grew up very isolated. I didn't learn to read until the age of 10 because I didn't go to school. The only people who communicated, supported, or controlled us was our church. And we lived in this tiny A-frame cabin on the very back edge of the property. Drive about 20 minutes down the mountain and you would find the Pacific Ocean. Highway 101, dangerous, treacherous, glorious, angry. I grew up on that ocean. And where the ghost comes in starts with the ticking sound. Now, this church believed in a lot of things. The laying on of hands for healing. Yeah, we did not go to doctors. End-time prophecy. Speaking of tongues, the devil, demons, angels, possession. So when I told my mom that I was hearing a ticking sound, and I was about 5 and a half when this started, in the wall of the A-frame right behind my bed, my pallet on the floor, because we were poor, we did not have beds. She said I needed to pray. God had power to protect me. Faith like a mustard seed. You could call down warring angels and you would be safe. And as a child, of course, I believed her. Because my mom believed it. Because she, the wild child of the 70s who got left out in the fucking cold, had absolutely absorbed the crazed doctrine of this fundamentalist group that she had found family in. So there was no reason as a child not to believe what she was telling me. The ticking didn't go away. And it wasn't rhythmic heartbeat. Tick, tick, tick. It changed pace. Tick, tick. Tick, 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 tick. It started to follow me in the daytime. Tick, tick, tick. It followed me downstairs. Tick, tick, tick. It would show up next to the potbelly stove. In the puce-colored bathroom that had not been updated since the 60s. My mom's deal with the property owners was that she would clean and maintain all of those homes because they were rented out to other church groups. Think Airbnb for fundamentalist Christians. That's how they made their money, and that's how my mom earned our rent. The ticking followed me into those homes. The ticking followed me into the 100-year-old orchard, which was absolutely my sanctuary. And my mother didn't think twice about leaving a 6-year-old child to watch her 2-year-old sister in the back 40. Tick, tick, tick. I wasn't praying hard enough, she told me, when the nightmares started. I didn't have enough faith when the bruises showed up on my arms, around my neck, on my backside. Where was my mustard seed when at the top of the stairs to the loft, I was picked up and thrown to the floor? At some point, we moved from the tiny cabin. Oh yeah, we got big moved. To the Hammer House. It was a beautiful Victorian, kind of in the front of the property, and we got to have that house. It was a big deal because I got to have my own room for the first time. At that point, my mom's relationship with the church had started to fracture a little bit. These were strained times for all of us. But I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. I was about almost 12 years old at that point. The ticking had gone away, but had been replaced by other things. Shadow figures. Door slamming. Footsteps. Knocks. Open cabinets. Voices in my ear. My hair being pulled. My feet being tripped. The ever-present bruises. The nightmares. Did I not mention the nightmares? Oh yeah. Horrific nightmares. Every single night. Since I was a little girl. One of the first nightmares I remember is having a demon on my chest. It looked like a little bat, little gargoyle, rustly skin, and it was peeling my face off, like you would peel an orange skin. Pray, my mom said. At some point, she brought me to the church elders, and they performed an exorcism on me. I shit you not, 20 church elders, an 8-year-old child, for 3 hours, held down in a chair in a freezing cold church. God had lost favor with me, is what they said. I still had a nightmare that night. Boy howdy, had he lost favor with me. So when we moved into the Hammer House, I got to have my very first room, and I was so thrilled. Mom had been going to church less. The owners of the property kept calling her into their house for meetings, prayer groups. It just sort of went over my head. The first couple nights were okay. I mean, I still heard the whispers. I still heard the knocks. If I had nightmares, I didn't remember. At that point, I had learned how to lucid dream, and I could kind of guide myself out of them a little bit. But when I got yanked to the end of my pallet on the floor by my feet, something in me snapped. I don't know at what point victimhood changed to anger. But for a 12-year-old, it was amazing. Because I got angry. And that's such a more powerful feeling than fear. And I jumped out of that bed in the pitch black. And I said, I bind you, Satan, in the name of Jesus. And it's not like I had faith in those words, because at that point, Jesus really had pretty much abandoned me, and Satan could just do whatever he was doing. The point was, I had decided not to be afraid anymore. There's so much power in anger. We're told not to be angry. We're told not to be enraged. We're told, don't feel that feeling. And I really have to wonder why. Sometimes when we are in the deepest, darkest places, anger is the only thing we have left. Sometimes even for a child, anger is our most powerful weapon, and it really can pull you out of the dark. Prayer didn't do it. My mom didn't do it. The church sure as hell didn't do it. I did it. And I can tell you the nightmares stopped. The ticking stopped. The bruises stopped. It's a hell of a ghost story. I can't say that I haven't had other experiences since. But what I know now are my own boundaries. I know that I have the power to say this far and no further. And I want to remind you guys that you also have that right. Don't forget that anger has power too. Thank you for listening to my story.